My name is Isham Abdullah and I am a student pursuing Masters of Islamic Finance Practice in INSIF. In this video I will be contrasting control mechanisms of Islamic banks in Malaysia and Bahrain. The discussion will cover 1. Management oversight and the control culture, 2. Risk recognition and assessment, 3. Control activities and segregation of duties, 4. Information and communication, 5. Monitoring activities and correcting deficiencies, 6. Information technology controls, 7. External audit. The types of control breakdowns typically seen in problem bank cases can be grouped into 6 categories. 1. Lack of adequate management oversight and accountability, and failure to develop a strong control culture within the bank. 2. Inadequate recognition and assessment of the risk of certain banking activities, whether on or off balance sheet. 3. The absence or failure of key control structures and activities, such as segregation of duties, approvals, verifications, reconciliations, and reviews of operating performance. 5. Inadequate communication of information between levels of management within the bank, especially in the upward communication of problems. 6. Inadequate or ineffective audit programs and monitoring activities. A control environment is designed, implemented and maintained by those charged with governance and management to provide reasonable assurance about the achievement of an entity's objectives with regard to reliability of financial reporting, effectiveness and efficiency of operations and compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Control environment of Malaysian and Bahrain Islamic banks consists of 5 interrelated elements. Both Bahrain and Malaysian Islamic banks have board of directors responsible for approving and periodically reviewing the overall business strategies and significant policies of the bank. The board consists of some members who are independent from the daily management of the bank. There is no specific guidance on the qualification of board members. Nonetheless, some of the Malaysian Islamic banks, for example Affin Islamic Bank and Bank Muammar, practice Shari qualified individuals to sit in the board. The board is assisted by independent committees to assist the board in carrying out its responsibilities. They are Audit Committee and Shari Committee and Risk Management Committee. What demarcates Bahrain control environment is the practice of not limiting 5 members in Shari Committee and the power for shareholder to appoint committee members based on board suggestion. Senior management have responsibility for implementing strategies and policies approved by the board and the establishment of an effective system of internal control. Senior management takes steps to ensure that activities are conducted by qualified staff with the necessary experience and technical capabilities. An essential element of an effective system of internal control is a strong control culture. Both Bahrain and Malaysian banks operate on ethical code of business conduct based on the principles of integrity, care and diligence, confidentiality and so on. An effective internal control system requires that the material risks that could adversely affect the achievement of the bank's goals are being recognized and continually assessed. Both Bahrain and Malaysian Islamic banks have risk management function that covers credit risk, market risk, liquidity risk, operational risk, legal risk and reputational risk, which is part and parcel of second line of defense, and both the jurisdiction follows Basel Committee guideline on managing risk. Control activities are an integral part of the daily activities of the bank. These include top-level reviews, appropriate activity controls for different departments or divisions, physical controls, checking for compliance with exposure limits and follow-up on non-compliance, a system of approvals and authorizations, and a system of verification and reconciliation. Segregation of duties means splitting duties among various individuals in order to reduce the risk of manipulation of financial data or misappropriation of assets. Malaysian and Bahrain banks gives emphasis on segregation of duties among the 3 line of defenses. In order for information to be useful, it must be relevant, reliable, timely, accessible, and provided in a consistent format. Bahrain and Malaysian banks invests heavily on IT infrastructure. Without effective communication, information is useless. Both Bahrain and Malaysian Islamic banks have upward structure that ensures that information flows upward so that the board of directors and senior management are aware of the business risks and the operating performance of the bank. Malaysian and Bahrain banks have internal audit and Shari audit and Shari review function carried out by operationally independent, appropriately trained and competent staff. Nonetheless, Islamic banks in Malaysia have a follow-up standard for reporting Shari non-compliance events referred to as Orion PD. Malaysia and Bahrain has a digital Islamic banking system. Malaysia is more advanced in financing and liquidity management of Islamic banks, having an electronic platform dedicated for commodity trading known as Bursa. Malaysia has more reliable system for financial transactions, including clearing check using MIC code, network of PayNet, renters, fast. In Bahrain, banking transaction is carried out through the network of benefit. Besides, there no specific commodity trading platform. Therefore, while cybersecurity remains at the forefront of the institutions, Malaysia Islamic banks have better IT control systems. Although external auditors are not, by definition, part of a banking organization and therefore are not part of its internal control system, they have an important impact on the quality of internal controls through their audit activities. Bahrain and Malaysian banks do carry out external Sharia audit and as well an external audit for financial statements. Based on the discussion, it can be concluded that in terms of performance, information and compliance objectives, Malaysian Islamic banks have a better control environment than Bahrain Islamic banks.